year and a half before the U.S. entered the war, the Germans had overtaken nearly all of Western Europe, and they had their sights set on conquering England. The aircraft flying over right now is the Focke-Wulf FW-190. It was one of the planes sent to destroy Britain's Royal Air Force. The plane was fast, very fast, and with later versions having a top speed of about 425 miles per hour. There were 29,000 of these aircraft built. The 190, along with the Messerschmitt Bf-109, engaged the Royal Air Force Hurricanes and Spitfires in the skies over England in what was to be known as the Battle of Britain. From July until the end of October 1940, the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, used the FW-190 and other planes to soften up the UK for a full-scale invasion. Let's listen to the sound of the FW-190. But the Royal Air Force, despite heavy losses, was able to it was one of the most capable Allied fighters in the war and had excellent high-altitude fighting capabilities. The Spits were fairly evenly matched with the Messerschmitt Bf-109s, but some consider the early models to be inferior to the FW-190. However, the tactics and skill of the Royal Air Force pilots, along with the tremendous production capacity of the RAF to build planes, helped give them the edge, eventually pushing back the Germans and bringing to an end the Battle of Britain on October 31st and ending Hitler's plans to invade England. One Royal Air Force Spitfire pilot, Flight Lieutenant David Crook, became an ace with 5 aerial victories during the Battle of Britain. He was given the Distinguished Flying Cross on October 1st. He then became a flight instructor, but sadly, in December of 1944, he disappeared while on a photographic mission. The Spitfire was powered by a Rolls-Royce liquid-cooled V12 Merlin engine that gave it a top speed of over 350 miles per hour. That engine was to play an important part in the development of one of the United States Army Air Force's finest fighters. If you will look now, we can hear and see the Spitfire approaching. Oftentimes, the cadets were victims of the dreaded ground loop. In the diamond formation, approaching now the Stearman flight. It's this kind of formation flying that was taught during the primary phase of training. Basic trainer, the Vultee Vibrator, or the Vultee Valiant, it is as it was officially called, some 10,000, or the P-47 Thunderbolts, approximately 15,000. It's easy to see that this was not a successful aircraft. It was obsolete, actually. Reaching a few miles out are 4 North American Texan aircraft manufactured in Texas. They will also be in what is known as a diamond formation. Officially, the Army Air Force called it the AT-6, Advanced Trainer 6. The Navy designated it the SNJ, S for Scout, N for Navy, and J for the designation of North American Aviation, the manufacturer. And the Royal Air Force dubbed it the Harvard. It was indeed an institution of higher learning. It was universally known as, though, the pilot maker. This 5,500-pound trainer was the last plane a cadet would fly before earning his wings. From the Texan, he'd move on to fighters, bombers, or transport airplanes. Depending on whose history book you read, the number of Texans ranged from 10,000 to 15,000, and a couple of sources as many as 22,000 that were built. Even North American aviation's historian says the exact number will be supersonic at about 2,250 revolutions per minute. The North American Texan. Malcolm hood, a bulged canopy, and it enabled them to raise the pilot seat up several inches. And then, taking advantage of the downward crook in the wing, they flew an oval approach to the carrier and were able then to successfully use this in the latter days of the war aboard Navy aircraft carriers. Coming in right now, the chance-fought F-4U Corsair. Designed to drop bombs, but the C-47 and other variants of this Douglas DC-3 twin-engine airliner quickly proved their worth both on and off the battlefield. They became a familiar sight all over the world. Eisenhower was not exaggerating with his accolade. The C-47 became crucial to the conduct of the war in at least 3 theaters and proved beneficial to military operations around the world. Typically, it took about a half mile to get this airplane off the ground. 28,000 pounds of aluminum, engines, gas guns, bullets, bombs, and crew. Yet 16 of these were loaded aboard the USS aircraft carrier Hornet and successfully launched them in as little as 467 feet. Each carried only 4 500-pound bombs, and they dropped them on military targets in Tokyo, Osaka, Nagoya, Kobe, and Yokohama. And though little damage was done, Japanese sense of invincibility was shaken, and it was not only a morale victory for the United States, but a strategic one as well. To this day, the Doolittle raid is considered to be the air mission against which all other air missions have been measured. Of the 80 men that participated in that raid, the last Doolittle raider, Colonel Richard Cole, Jimmy Doolittle's co-pilot on the mission, passed away just 2 months ago at age 103. But the B-25's contribution to the war effort was not limited to the Doolittle raid. The aircraft teams in the world of over 12,700 that were built. The name of this particular B-17 is the movie, and finally the United States Air Force took it back to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in the National Museum of the United States Air Force and restored it. And it is now on display, celebrating just 13 months after its display, being